Good morning. I'm Karen. I'm a compulsive overeater and bulimic, and very nervous to be here today, but very grateful as well. Um, I just need to sit here and tell my story. And just to qualify, I've been in OA for 15 years now, and sometimes I feel as though I'm still a newcomer. And it's been really interesting coming up to this lead chair because it's meant that I have looked back at the beginning of my journey in OA, and I can talk about what happened before and what it was like. And I think I've been a compulsive eater all my life. When I was little, I was a very sensitive little soul, and I was born into a very chaotic household with an alcoholic father, and I took it upon myself to protect my mum from a very early age, and I found food as a way of numbing out the life that I couldn't quite figure out, and it just it made life bearable. And yes, sugar and treats, and whether they were dog treats or adult normal human food, it didn't really matter. And I used to eat in secret, and I was plagued by horrible nightmares as well as a child. So I found it very difficult to relate to the adults in my family. Um, and yeah, it, 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 I'm having difficulty here. I'm really nervous. So basically, as I grew up, I used food more and more to cope with life, and I went through stages of binging uncontrollably. And then when I was 16, I found different ways of coping with how the weight that was piling up on my body was affecting me. And so I started over exercising. I started these crazy diets. I think I was about 10 when I went to my first diet, even though there was nothing wrong with me physically. I was an active child, but I just never felt right in my own body. And so the diets that I picked up, I became very adept at them. And they would work for a little while, and then I would be back in the food. I think I have a very standard history with food. And I tried every single diet going. I tried weight loss clubs, and they cost a fortune. I couldn't believe it, but everything lasted well whilst I could focus my compulsive, obsessive mind on something. It lasted for maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then I would be back in the food again, uncontrollably eating, and just really, really sad actually, because um, the last thing I wanted to do was be eating, because I knew it was taking up so much time. So even at work, I would go to work, and I would promise myself I would just eat the healthy food I'd taken with me. But by 10 o'clock, I was out in the corner shop, buying buying all the foods I didn't want to be eating, and I was miserable. But somehow I managed to hold down a job, and had a nice husband, and I had bouts of bulimia as well, which were heartbreakingly tragic, because I found myself throwing up I was on my knees. I was just hopeless. I was just hopeless. I was pregnant and I was throwing up and I was terrified of losing my children. And one day, a friend took me to my first meeting, and I hadn't even realized that I had a problem. It was one of these things where my illness is so glaringly obvious that to other people, but to me, I was just so intent on surviving one day at a time, that my misery was obvious. I just wore it on my face. And the moment I walked into my first meeting, um, I could just let down all this defense I didn't realize I had. And suddenly I'm amongst my people, my tribe, somebody, people who understand me. I don't have to describe why I can't stop eating, why in a room full of people and friends that I love dearly, if there's a plate of food, that takes my full attention. I'm a bulk eater, and I would leave parties to go home and binge because I couldn't cope. I just couldn't cope with life. And the only time I seemed to be at peace was when I was eating, and normally eating in secret because there was a shame in there that I had had for a long time. So I came to the program pretty much on my knees, but I didn't realize the full scope of recovery because I didn't feel that I was lovable at all. I'm cursed in my family, like all the women on our line. I am apparently a strong woman. I have a super low self-esteem, and it's taken a long, long time, many rounds of the steps to get to this point where I can actually start to accept myself. Um, my first trip through the steps was writing essays, and I think it took about five trips. It's really embarrassing to say this, but it took me about five of those through the steps to actually start feeling my way into what recovery is and looking at my food and my food behaviors. I was let go by several sponsors because I was doing it my way. And it wasn't until I started becoming more and more honest around my food and really looking at my eating behaviors that I started to be able to become more honest. I was what I consider one of the hopeless ones. I just couldn't get it. I would lie wherever I could. I would call a portion of chicken a whole chicken, something like that. And I just couldn't get it. And I'm trying to figure out what was the turning point, because I was just so spiritually defunct. And I started, I think I had a conversation with another fellow, and I was so in pain. And I was trying to talk to her about why I kept eating and how it was so hard for me and why it was impossible. And I was so upset. I just put my head down on the desk and I said, I can't do this anymore. And that was the moment I started to become a little bit willing to try something else. And I started to let go of my way of doing things. And I started working on my honesty. And I started asking other fellows what they were doing. What works for you? How do you cope when this happens? And it's all about the tools and picking up the phone and asking for help. And since then, I think I was shoehorned into sponsoring somebody else, and that again is when my own recovery took off, because there's that
5 minutes.
saying that thank you, you become a better sponsee when you start being a sponsor. And that willingness to help somebody else surpassed my own problems. And of course, I wanted to set a good example. So helping other people, somehow, all that wisdom that I had inside, that I'd collected during these years of slogging away, trying to do the right thing, just started to crystallize. And I became part of the chain of compulsive eaters in recovery around the world. And by helping others, suddenly it took the focus off me, and I started just to relax into it. My higher power became more and more important in my life. Everything changed for me. The steps have helped me figure out my side of the street, what's going on in Karen's head, and then the traditions, as I've heard many times before, have given me like a way of living outside of my head and dealing with other people. And steps 4 and particularly 5 have helped me, because they talk about the exact nature of my wrongs. It's the nature. It's not what's wrong with Karen, but it's the nature, what's been happening. Why has this happened? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And because I've discovered the exact nature of my wrongs, it means that I've been able to encourage my true nature to come out. My selfishness comes from fear, for example, and the things I do to try and protect myself. I don't want people to find out who I am and what an imposter I am. Giving up that fear has been really a long process, but looking at things with love and acceptance, rather than trying to be the perfect person in recovery, has helped. Yeah, this has gone really quickly, and I don't know if I'm saying anything that's any use to anybody, but I'm just so grateful to be here. My life today is so very different, because I've just discovered this week, through talking with fellows, that a common thing with me, and from what I hear, is people are saying, how do you connect to your higher power? How do you know that you're connected? And it's become really obvious that I'm connected with my higher power. My higher power is always connected with me. I turn away from that connection, but I'm always connected, and that's brought me tremendous peace, because it is a spiritual malady with me. I have this pain inside of me, this God-shaped hole that is spoken about. But the knowledge that I am always connected means that I am not the hopeless, lost person I always thought I was. Lately, people have told me that I carry a light inside of me that they are drawn towards, and that's my recovery. And I didn't even realize this. I didn't even realize I was living the
1 minute.
promises. Thank you. I've tried so hard, and then suddenly, through helping others, it's been reflected back to me that I am in recovery, and I don't know, it's just been so beautiful. My worrying about things so much has been in my way, and I don't know, I'm just so grateful. So I suppose to everybody, don't give up, just keep coming back, do the next right thing, speak to people in recovery, ask questions, listen, and it will happen. Yeah, it's so worth it. It's so worthwhile, you know. You get 3 meals a day and life in between, and a snack for me. But my time is up. So I'm relieved, and I'm happy to be here with so many people like me. So thank you so much.